Welcome to Season 1, Episode 4 of Jand TV. Today I'm responding to a listener or viewer question. I can't remember the last time I worked out. Is Jand fitness really for me? So before I get into it, I want to point your attention to the new shirts that say Jand embroidered. I don't know if you can make out that embroidery. It's pretty cool. I'm so excited by it. I've got it in black, ash grey, and like a silver, and I'll be wearing them over every video. This is the new uniform. I'm so excited to finally have them be delivered and have these for our new show. So this is Jand TV episode 4 season 1. If you are hopping on, please interact and engage with me, because this is supposed to be a very engaging video today. So ask me questions as I go. It is entitled, I can't remember the last time I worked out. Is Jand fitness really for me? So you'll have to excuse my voice. I've been up on a roof at our family beach shack the last couple of days. You'll know that if you've been watching my Facebook page and seeing some of the stuff I posted there, and also Instagram. And I got a little bit sick from being up in the hot sun and working so hard. It's supposed to be on my 2-week break, and I'm been working hard at the moment. Heading back home at the moment and heading back over there on the weekend. So actually, what are you doing for Easter? We're heading back over to Mandorah, which is across the harbour, at our family beach shack, and spending it with all our extended family. Let me know in the comments how you're spending Easter. And as you're watching, please feel free to ask me questions as I go. So, this video, is Jand fitness really for me? I can't remember the last time I worked out. Now, I'm asked that question quite a lot, and it comes up quite a bit, even from people not asking me. I know that people out there are often asking the question, how can I get into fitness? It's been a long time since I've exercised. What do I need to do to get back into it? I need help staying on track with my health and fitness goals, or I want help to get back into my fitness, or to get into fitness in the first place. And part of what we do here at Jand is we run a 2-week intro package, and that is really, really important. I have found that to be the most important thing that we do in the whole process. It is all about our onboarding and how we welcome in new members, and people who go through that process, that 2-week intro package, properly. And I make sure that we hit all the milestones that we need to hit in terms of what I need to deliver in that. And they are that we have 2 weeks of unlimited classes for you to use how you see fit. This is both online and in person, for our online training and our in-person classes. They also include a wellness consultation, which I believe is the most important part of the intro package. You have a physical induction, which I've just finished running one right now, actually, for one of our new members who's just started their 2-week intro package. That's probably the second most important thing. They also have a health screening, and then we create a customized plan for how they can utilize their 2 weeks of unlimited classes. So just to say 2 weeks of unlimited classes doesn't necessarily help any people. That can actually be overwhelming, because a lot of people will go, okay, well, I can see you've got 30 classes on offer, Monday to Friday, every weekday. We've got 3 classes every morning and 3 classes every afternoon. That's 6 a day for 5 days, 30 classes in total. How do I choose which class to attend? And then I see you've got HIIT classes, functional strength classes, hypertrophy, strength, boxing, core. Which one do I need to do for my goals? And so going through and sitting with them in their wellness consultation, taking them through the physical induction, and then working with them in their 2 weeks of classes, we can help to structure which sessions they need to do in order to achieve their goals and overcome their unique challenges. So the way we go about it, I'm going to quickly touch on here what we do in a physical induction. And this is the short answer to the question, I don't know the last time I worked out or I exercised, is Jand fitness really for you? The short answer is absolutely. Yes, it is, of course. Because the way we go about it is all about earning the right. You have to earn the right to move on to a more complex version of the movement. So I'm a teacher by trade, so I like to use teaching examples. When it comes to literacy, you would not ask a transition or a prep student to go and read a novel. They simply wouldn't be able to do it. What you need to do first is introduce them to letter names, letter sounds, start getting to sound out the letters, and then from there go into their sight words and start getting them to read and recognize different simple sight words from our most commonly used words in the English dictionary. And we progress from there until we get to a point where we can actually read a full-blown novel and we become advanced at English grammar. Physical literacy, just the same as literacy, written, spoken, read and whatever the other one is. But spoken and read literacy, for example, physical literacy is exactly the same. You need to progress your way through it. And the whole JAND movement system takes you through step by step through 6 fundamental movements. Now, if you were to break all human movement down into the 6 fundamental, if you were to break all human movement down, you would come up with 7 fundamental movements. Now, I know I've been talking about 6 and now I've just mentioned 7. And the reason for that is number 7 is rotation. It's a movement, this one here, or twisting of the spine. It's a movement which we need to practice, but not necessarily strengthen. The other 6 are movements which all human movement can be broken down into and classified as, and then from there we can break them down into exercises. So we have different exercises within each of the 6 fundamental movements. Now, part of my role at the Institute of Sport, the Northern Territory Institute of Sport, was to help create this movement system, which is where, after having done it for a long time already in the past, I came into the job quite qualified and experienced to be able to create this movement system. I then put something together into a structured system and then modified it and refined it after having left there in late 2017, particularly for people in general health who are typically of about middle age, so somewhere between 40 and 60, and who haven't exercised in quite a while most of the time. What I found was where we were starting with the Institute of Sport stuff was a little bit too far on for most people in the general health industry. So where we were doing Happy Cat, Angry Cat, which looks like this, down on your hands and knees, Angry Cat. Now that's the start of 3 of the movements. That looks a lot like cat-cow in yoga. Now yoga is a movement system, same as Pilates is a movement system. The JAND movement system is its own movement system. So we've taken what I've learned and what I like and put it into a system to progress someone from the most simplest regression of every exercise that fits within the 6 fundamental movements through to the most complex progression without ever having to pick up any weight or use any form of resistance such as resistance bands. So one of the exercises we do need and implement to be able to do it, and that is our pull-ups. So we've got pull-ups, and this one is both horizontal and vertical. So we need either suspension straps or a bar or a bench or something that we can pull up from underneath, and we work our way through that. I'm not going to go through that one today, but the other 5, the first one is the brace. Now I love house analogies and building analogies because what we're ultimately doing here is we are building a body. I love talking about building people up in terms of building our body just the same as we would build a house. So our brace, most people see that as the plank. Now remember, plank is just the exercise that sits within the movement, and braces are a little bit different because most often it is a stationary exercise. Many of the planking exercises are stationary where we don't move, but there's also a lot which are dynamic. For example, we have plank, leg raise, legs out, arms out, and in, hands up, shoulder tap. So they are all exercises. Each one of them is a different exercise that fits within the bracing movement. From there, we then go into our push-up. We've also got our pull-up, which I alluded to. So we've got our bracing movement, our push-up movement, or pushing, and our pulling movement. Remember, pulling gets broken up into both horizontal and vertical. And then we've got our 3 lower bodies. So our first one is squatting. So from here, lunging, and hinging. Now hinging, you might recognize that as deadlifts. It's hinging when it's unweighted, or the way I refer to it, and it becomes deadlifts when we add weight. So when we grab onto a kettlebell, dumbbells, or a bar, then that's where it becomes deadlifts. But they are our 6 fundamental movements. So we've got a brace, push-ups, pull-ups, both horizontal and vertical, squats, lunges, and hinges. So when people say, I don't remember the last time I exercised, like the lady who I just had come in here for her physical induction, she can't remember the last time she exercised. We were able, through that system, be able to modify all of her movements to be able to, when she comes in for her first class, she can step straight in feeling like a professional, because she's been into this physical induction with me. She knows exactly what the 6 foundation movements are, and we have established at what point along the continuum for each of those movements she is at. So I say, here's the brace, and so this is how we start. And I'll take you through what I did with her. So brace, here. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Angry cat, happy cat, angry cat. Hold your angry cat back. Step forward. I like to check in. Happy cat, angry cat. Down to your elbows. Happy cat, angry cat. And we might just stay there. We may have even just stayed here. And for her, where she stayed was on her hands and on her knees. Now I like the hands first as a earlier level progression or regression, because it gives you more control of where your shoulders are in space. What we don't want is the shoulders up around the ears, and we don't want them sinking in, your shoulders sinking into the joint. So we want to be able to push away and put our shoulder blades down into our back pocket, so we've got good engagement through our shoulder. So that there, I just went through several different levels. She might have even stayed with simply the happy cat, angry cat, but she might have then stayed with the walkouts and back, the walkouts and back. Our next one was to just hold it stationary and really focus on our angry cat back and tucking our tailbone like a scared cat running away from an angry dog. And then if we can do that and hold that for 30 seconds, we can then go down to the elbows. From there, we can then do some stuff on the elbows, move our legs around. So it might be from there to go from here and go straight, lift one knee up, other knee, and then go on and build up from there. So you can see that there are correct form. I like your explanation. Thank you, Debbie. So you can see that there already, I've just demonstrated 5 or 6 different exercises which fit into the brace movement. Now I don't like the word movement when it comes to brace, because most people see brace as just stationary and isolated, but you can see that we do move because we want to challenge the body across all the different planes of movement, and we want to make sure that we're getting good control, understanding where our shoulders are in space, where our pelvis is in space, and they are the main two, so that we can then set our foundation. So of those 6 foundation movements, the brace, if we were to use building a house as an analogy, our brace is like our slab of concrete. We lay our slab of concrete out first. That needs to be completely flat so that all water runs off and we don't have any areas pooling with water when it gets wet, and it's nice and solid so that the rest of the house can be built upon that. The walls and the roof are then, can't wait to start tomorrow and learn this. Yes, B, yes. We've got a session tomorrow, our physical induction. So we just run a physical induction now right before this video, and running another one tomorrow morning. I know. So you're getting a bit of a, B, you're getting a bit of a quick touch on what is going to happen tomorrow. But our walls and our roof are the other 5. So they are pushing, pulling, squatting, lunging, and hinging. Everything else beyond that is all our aesthetics. That is our coat of paint, what colour we choose to paint our walls, our tap fixtures, our light fixtures, our cupboards in our kitchen, our cupboards in our bedrooms and lounge room, and everything else that goes into the house to make our house. It is super important that we get the fundamentals right. So as I said, I'm going to reiterate it again. Our bracing, our slab of concrete, our other 5, which are our walls and our roof, pushing and pulling both horizontal and vertical, squatting, lunging, and hinging. And then from there, we can worry about what type of tap we choose and what color we paint our house, and if we have a feature wall and all the rest of it. So it is all about building the body up from the inside out, breaking movement down. So we've got a system to be able to do that. You need a system for anything to be successful in the world, so that we can know exactly where we're at in the journey, where we're at in the movement sequence, and go, okay, this person is struggling through their shoulders in because their upper muscles here, trapezius and other levator scapula, and all these little muscles up around here are too tight. And so what do we need to do to counteract that? Or they are lacking control through their pelvis, and so we need to get this awareness of where the pelvis is in space. It's a bit of a funny movement. I call that our bucket. That's another video though. And also just being able to get that control through our torso. So I hope you've liked this video. The answer to that question I don't know, the last time I exercised, is Jan Fitness right for me? Absolutely. I would argue black and blue that this movement sequence, just like yoga, just like Pilates, is absolutely for you. And the difference to yoga and Pilates is that, because I've had a couple of yoga instructors come to my training and say, I want to do your stuff. And I go, well, why? You're a yoga instructor. Why do you need to come here and do this? Why don't you know what to do? Why don't you go away and do it? Or why don't you go and join another yoga instructor's class and do one of their classes? And one of the things they say is, I need the extra strength to be able to do some of the more advanced moves. And I went, okay, light bulb moment. This is very, very important. So what they were getting from yoga and Pilates wasn't giving them the extra strength that they needed to be able to perform the harder, more advanced versions of the poses that they needed to do in yoga and Pilates. For example, one of the yoga instructors needed extra strength in the upper body to be able to support their body weight, to be able to do, I think they'll do headstands or something like that, or different types of movements, and they needed that extra strength. Also through their legs and their pelvis in particular. And so having this system where we work through the 6 fundamental movements gives us that ability to develop extra strength while still doing it intelligently and moving people through the most simple regression through to the most complex progression. So if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask. I'll hang in here for 30 more seconds and answer any questions that you might have. If there are none, this video is going to go up onto YouTube. So if you are watching this at a later date, the post recording up on YouTube, please leave your comments in the comment section below and I will answer them. And it will be coming emailed out to our email audience tomorrow morning, which will be on a Friday morning. So if you'd like to join that, then please head on over to jacobandretraining.com and go and sign up for email updates. There'll be a link there on the homepage somewhere to be able to get this email. So emailed out to you, and we'll email these videos out every Tuesday and Friday morning. All right, that's it for today. Today was a fitness-based one. Our next video for next week, episode 5, which will be next Monday evening, which is actually Easter Monday, will be a This Is Us type video. So we have 4 different types. We have This Is Us, which gives you a bit of a background to myself and the JAND framework. Then we've got nutrition. Then we've got a special invitation video, and then we've got a fitness-based video. That is the sequence that we are following. I hope you've liked it. If you did, please hit the like button, and I would be extremely grateful if you were to share it out amongst your friends and share this message with anyone who might be interested in it. Thanks, and I'll see you on Easter Monday evening for our next video. I hope you have a great Easter. Be safe, have fun, eat lots of Easter eggs, and enjoy yourself. I'll see you then.